Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Dill, late Wednesday night, the DJ Lagway era officially getting kicked off in Gainesville, getting the start against Samford Saturday night. Dill, I'm going to be quite frank, and you texted me this right when the news kind of hit. This is how Billy Napier, at least in our minds, saves his job. Like, if you can show that DJ Lagway is a quarterback that you can win at a high level at in 2025, that's the avenue for Billy Napier being here in 2025. I think this is massive for Billy Napier and obviously really exciting for Florida Gator fans. Dill, we remember as Michigan fans when J.J. McCarthy got the first go at Michigan. When you have a young quarterback that you know is as talented as DJ Lagway, these are the kind of guys that can kind of change the direction of a program. And I get that's a lot of expectation to be putting on a true freshman. I think all Florida fans realize that's how talented DJ Lagway is. Want to get into a couple of different things. One, what we saw from DJ Lagway in the fourth quarter against Miami. I think more importantly, how does this Florida program go about letting DJ Lagway be as successful as possible during his freshman year? Really excited to get into it now. Before we do, and as always, to the Florida fans, we've talked about this kid a lot going back to his days in high school. Would love to hear how you guys are feeling about this. But I think more importantly, what do you want to see from DJ Lagway? What are the expectations for DJ Lagway game one against Samford? Let it fly in the comment section. Again, if y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. The amount of support y'all show, it means the world. And Dill, I'll give you the tee box here. Let's start with expectations for DJ Lagway as a freshman getting his first start.
I mean, I think they're really, really high. I thought when he came into that Miami game, he didn't look rattled. I feel like sometimes you see that when you get thrust into that situation, when that Miami team was buzzing and they were dominating that game and really making life hard, I'd say, for Graham Mertz, even those negative plays, it didn't feel like DJ Lagway shelled up at all and got a little gun shy. I mean, he was playing right through. Obviously, started a little slow on that first drive, and then that next drive gets in rhythm, gets the ball out of his hand quickly, obviously, to Eugene Wilson, who's a big-time playmaker for that Gator team. I thought he looked kind of more comfortable, frankly, than I would have been.
That's why we're sitting in our basements talking ball and not being DJ Lagway starting in front of 100,000 fans. Still, I think what is most important for DJ Lagway is to come out and one for Billy Napier to lean into this kid's skill set. Like, how many times do we see quarterbacks with the unique skill set that DJ Lagway has, and then play callers just not utilize it? And yeah, you want to keep DJ Lagway healthy, but I think on the same time, you have to recognize that he's one of the best athletes on the football field. And he's 6'3", 240. I think he can handle a little bit of physicality. And I mean, to their credit, they immediately got him outside of the pocket. They gave him some RPOs, some read options, letting him use his legs. His athleticism is one of the biggest assets that he brings to that quarterback position. I think on top of that, he's exceptional at throwing off platform, has an extensive baseball background. You can kind of see that background when he's asked to move and operate outside of the pocket.
Frankly, if his tenure goes any longer and Graham Mertz doesn't get healthy for the next couple of weeks, I mean, when they go play tougher, I'm sure they can block Samford. If they can't block Samford, then I don't think any of this matters. Billy Napier is getting fired, and you're moving on if you're Florida. But assuming they can take care of business with Samford, I still think you want to see them move DJ Lagway around because, again, as I said, if they get this, if this has to go a couple of weeks and DJ Lagway becomes the starter for a few games and they get into some of their games like Texas A&M and some of those tougher teams, I mean, this Florida offensive line, I don't think can just sit back and protect them and give much of a chance to play really good football. So, again, I'm kind of looking – that offense probably does need to get their quarterback moving in general, whether that's Mertz, whether that's Lagway. And I think that gives DJ Lagway a better chance of showing his skill set. Because if they just put him in the pocket, dropping back against teams like Texas A&M, I just don't see how that's conducive at all to him having a good day.
Yeah, he can operate from the pocket. We're not saying that he's not able to, but – you can tell he's very comfortable. And for young quarterbacks, it simplifies the game. It lets them process a little bit when they have the ability to get out there and play in space. I think another thing that you did see Florida do a good job with is, hey, easy access throws. Like, Eugene Wilson is somebody that can separate extremely quickly in those short intermediate route trees. scheme it up for him. Like, let him get some layups, give him some easy completions, get his confidence, get this Florida offense in a little bit of a rhythm, because you saw that second drive that he was leading the offense. I think that was probably the most in rhythm that Florida offense was pretty much all game. And he brings something that Graham Mertz doesn't have, and that is the ability to put stress on the defense with his athleticism.
And so really run like that true RPO game that it felt like they kind of went to. And again, that opens up the middle of the field a little bit for some of those throws, and allowing a guy like Trey Wilson to get open, or a guy like Elijah Badger to get open quickly, and then make plays with their feet after catching it.
Yeah, and I wonder if you can get the run game going a little bit more effectively with some of those read options, where when you have a quarterback like that, that's how you run the football most effectively. And then when Samford or other programs that we see over the next couple of weeks maybe start putting some safeties into the box, like, can you get a guy like Tremere DK or Elijah Badger or a guy like Aiden Mizell working vertically down the field? Because we know DJ can throw the deep ball, and that's one thing that he does exceptionally well. And I think my last note on DJ Lagway, I also want to talk a little bit about the rest of this Florida team here. This kid's a gamer. Like, down in Willis, Texas, that is not a very good high school football program. DJ Lagway won 11 games with them. He threw for over 4,600 yards, a 72% completion percentage. One of the fascinating conversations about DJ Lagway that we had when he was a high school recruit was this raw, unique quarterback athlete that has so much upside, but not necessarily the best quarterback yet. You go back to the senior year film, like, he put it all together. Like, I think this kid is a much more finished product in terms of being ready to play early than a lot of people give him credit for. And I think obviously the plan was, let's have Graham Mertz be the guy. DJ Lagway, gets a lot of quality and meaningful reps, but wasn't going to be the starter. Obviously getting thrusted in a little bit earlier than, I think most expected, but we think this kid's ready. I want to talk about.
I want to ask you something real quick. If DJ Lagway goes out and lights it up these next couple games, maybe, what do you think the possibility is? You just give him the keys to it? Because I do think there's an element of, frankly, and I think Graham Mertz is really good. I think he's got the chance to be successful in certain offenses. But again, looking at some of the struggles they had up front, and having a bit more athletic potential and the ability to move the pocket and kind of guard against, some of the struggles they'll have, I think, inherently going forward with that offensive line. What do you think the chances are they just let him go and let him rip it up and see what they can do? Because again, I don't want to call this year a dead year, but it doesn't look like Florida is going to be wildly competitive for anything.
I think that's a really good point. My concern is, you got Texas A&M week 3. They have one of, if not the best defensive lines in the country. If Graham Mertz is, and I feel bad saying this, but if Graham Mertz is healthy for that, I feel like you throw Graham Mertz, the veteran, to the Wolves in that game, and then maybe have DJ Lagway coming later in the season. Like, the schedule, I know, doesn't get any easier, but with how that offensive line looked against Miami, which again is one of the better pass rush units that Florida will see, I don't know if I want to throw DJ Lagway out against Texas A&M.
Well, I just think, again, some of the things he can do, and you saw the way Riley Leonard was used in that Notre Dame game. Yeah. I felt like he did a pretty good job of neutralizing what A&M was doing in terms of getting their aggression down, being able to run the ball himself and make plays, move the pocket, and throw from different platforms, as you kind of mentioned. I think that gives Florida a much better chance of success, and I think Billy Napier's got to get every win he can get in this season.
I think there is a good I think there is a good point to be made that DJ Lagway might be the better quarterback suited to run this Florida offense, given these struggles that they have on the offensive line. I mean, you look at Cam Waits, again, a liability. And we talked about the frustration on Sunday, but like, liability at the tackle position. I don't know what they're seeing in Cam Waits at practice, because it must be amazing for him to trot out and just kind of get the doors blown off him at that right tackle spot. I mean, Brendan Crenshaw-Dixon clearly looks like the better tackle, but they're going with Cam Waits. They got the OR designation on the depth chart this time, but again, my only concern, and I totally kind of understand where you're coming from. My only concern is, I just don't want DJ Lagway to get crushed by Texas A&M. And from what we saw from the Florida offensive line in week 1 against Miami, I'm not totally sure that he's not going to get crushed. But with the athleticism that he has, maybe potentially neutralizing that Texas A&M pass rush, that I would love to hear from the Florida fans in terms of how they think that should be managed, because I think that's
and I'm a Michigan fan. When I saw JJ as a freshman, we always wanted it was like, okay, there's clearly such a higher ceiling. It's like I don't think you can win at a really high level with Cade. Michigan a little bit different because they're winning a lot of games with Cade.
Yep.
This year for Florida, it's just like you kind of know at this point you're not going to be competing for an SEC title unless something drastically changes in some of the other elements of this football team. And for that reason, like, do you just want to see what you have with DJ Lagway? So at least you can have that hope moving forward that, all right, we got the guy who can, again, elevate this team to something that might be greater than what you have right now or whatever.
Yeah, and I think it'd be the best way to keep the Florida fans engaged. You know what I mean? Like,
keep Billy Napier employed.
that too. That 100%. That is a talking point. We'll see how they manage it. I'm fired up. Like, at least as a college football fan that I am, like, that game's going to be on a TV now because I want to see DJ Lagway get his first start. And I think it's an ideal condition. Like, I'm happy this is week 2, not week 3, that you're hosting Texas A&M. DJ's should be able to get some confidence against a team like Samford. And then if he does really look good, I think it'd be hard to pull him and give him a shot at Texas A&M. We'll see how they manage it. Would love to hear from you guys in the comment section. Fascinating conversation, fascinating development for a Florida program that kind of lifeless the last couple of days after that loss. A little bit of juice going into week 2. I think that's exciting for the Florida fans. We'll cut it out there. Again, appreciate you guys rocking with it. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Appreciate y'all. We'll talk to you guys later. Peace.